At the same time, Departmental Committee on Agriculture will vet nominees Philip Kelo Harsame of State Department for Crop Development and Hari Kimutai of State Department for Livestock Development. Department Committee on Finance and Planning will also sit on the same day to interview Dr. Chris Kipto, the nominee for PS Treasury, and James Mohati, the nominee for State Department for Economic Planning. On Monday afternoon, the Departmental Committee on Health will vet Engineer Peter Tum, the nominee for State Department for Medical Services, and Dr. Josephine Mboro, the nominee for Health Standards and Professional Management. The vetting process will run up to Friday, November 18th, and any person may by written statement on oath contesting the suitability of a nominee provide the evidence to the Clerk of National Assembly. Lishoke Washira, Lunchtime News.
All right, a section of leaders in the county of Isiolo are meeting with a number of organizations in a 3-day event aimed at encouraging the society to live comfortably with persons living with disability. We have a team on the ground. Right now we're being joined live by my colleague Farah Yusuf, who is on the ground. Farah, good afternoon. Give us an update from your end.
Indeed, a very good afternoon to you, Irene. Muchuma back at the broadcasting house. As you said, we are coming to you live from the county of Isiolo, and today we just attended this the 10th conference of the disability persons by the Northern Nomadic Disabled Persons Organization that is supposed to culminate to the 11th Desert Race. And the importance of this is that this is serving to amplify the voices of persons with disabilities as far as matters inclusivity in opportunities is concerned, as far as having their space in matters development and key decision-making processes is concerned. And right about now, I'm joined by one of the founding members of these organizations, that is Mr. Hassan Borle and Mr. Hussein Borle, rather. And thank you very much for joining us. Perhaps, Hussein, 10 years plus after the funding of the Northern Nomadic Disabled Persons Organizations, what still remains to be the biggest challenge as far as matters inclusivity and access to opportunities is concerned?
Thank you very much. I think despite the provisions which are there in law, let's say the Constitution, the Disability Act, and even the UN Convention on Rights of Persons with Disability, which haven't been, which is also part of the law of Kenya. Despite all those, we are still having a challenge due to implementation of the law. Things are lacking behind because implementation is not in tune with provisions of the law. Like, for instance, the Constitution provides that Article 54(2) of the Kenyan Constitution says 5% of appointive and elective positions are to be reserved for persons with a disability. But that's not happening. For instance, in the just concluded election, out of the 47 counties, 21 counties do not have representation of persons with disabilities. That's on the legislation side. On the executive side, most counties which are now appointing their CECs and chief officers are not also including persons with disabilities in their executive arm. So the legislation is one thing, but implementation is another. So in terms of implementation, things are not well. Thank you.
Let's talk about tomorrow's Desert Wheel Race that, apart from showcasing the talents of persons with disabilities, also goes to amplify your voices. But what else does it seek to achieve?
Thank you so much. Tomorrow's Desert Wheel Race is about bringing persons with disabilities, especially from pastoral counties, together, so that this race is a unique race whereby persons with disability will showcase their talents, but at the same time will also address other themes such as the need for peace, especially in the pastoral communities. I've already said my own story where I've suffered disability due to violence of raiders which have raided our community That's 50 years ago, where I was speared and I've suffered a spinal injury. So we also preach peace, because we knew before the devolution, some of the counties which were recognized as hotspots were these counties in the pastoral communities, especially Isiolo, which is actually said to be a melting pot for so many different, tribes and clans. So we decided to have this event in Isiolo annually, in order also to preach peace and, social cohesion and all those.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hussein, and of course all the best in that race. So there you have it, Irene Muchuma. That is the march we have for you from Isiolo right now. Of course, we'll have more of these stories in our subsequent bulletins, but right now, let me hand it back over to you in the broadcasting house. Irene?
Thank you, Farah. Besides the news item, we're also looking forward for the sights and sounds from the desert race. Good afternoon, Farah, and good to have you. In other news, Kenyans seeking to travel to Saudi Arabia as domestic workers will from Monday, November 7th, 2022 be required to fulfill a set of requirements at the immigration office before leaving the country. The move is part of a raft of measures that the government has adopted to ensure the safety of Kenyan domestic workers in the Gulf region following cases of mistreatment. Speaking in Saudi Arabia after a meeting with the Saudi government, Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua noted the immigrants' labor system is corrupt and run by cartels, adding there is urgent need to break the chain and save Kenyans.
While many Kenyans have been exposed to grave danger as they seek to eke a living as domestic workers in the Gulf countries, the government has now moved in to regulate the sector. Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua, while on a two-day tour of Saudi Arabia, said the two governments have addressed a number of issues on bilateral relations, including the safety of domestic workers.
Saudi Arabia has great potential and is a major market for our workers, and especially trained ones. Kenyans here working, apart from the domestic ones, the other ones working in other areas, appear to be very happy. I've met many, they are happy, they are well paid, they are sitting pretty, and they are making a lot of money. So we just need to fix the domestic part.
Dr. Mutu was saying the major problem lies with agencies that run the immigrant labor system, terming it flawed and corrupt.
We have to break the cartels and streamline the agencies, some of which are owned by prominent Kenyans. We have agreed to work on a modality to get Kenyan labor agencies to have offices here in Saudi Arabia so as to deal with issues concerning their clients, that is the Kenyans they bring here.
In a move to break the chain of cartels, strict measures have been adopted. Kenyans will have to fulfill a set of requirements at the Immigration Office from next Monday, November 7th of 2022. The Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs is also putting in place a joint technical committee between the two governments to fast-track solving of outstanding labor issues. Establishment of an emergency hotline for Kenyans to call when faced with issues in the foreign lands. Sis Mutua says the government is also seeking for amnesty to be granted to Kenyans who are in Gulf nations illegally.
With His Highness Faisal, we have agreed to enhance our trade and investment and expansion of our tourism sectors. This will create more employment opportunities and increase the amount of money in the pockets of our people.
Kamcheminza for Lunchtime News.
Now, Maendeleo Wanawake Organization will roll out a food distribution program in counties affected by drought. National Chairperson Rahab Mwiu says the exercise will begin next week in Kajiado County, where over 100 households are targeted. Mwiu called on other well-wishers to support the government as it seeks a long-term solution. The organization at the same time supported President William Ruto's initiative of encouraging planting of more trees in an effort to mitigate effects of climate change.
So we are going to 100 households to distribute some food in Malua village, Matapato South, Kajiado County. We've been to Matapato South North, where we took water tanks and some of our old founding mothers are there. This will be coupled with sensitization on still our importance of our national water harvesting project for daily use. Indeed, we hope we go back to Turkana to do the same as we be to all the other 47 counties.
While you're watching the Lunchtime News, in a couple of days, KBC Channel 1 will be bringing you live the World Cup from Qatar. And on our social media platforms, the vibrant digital team is asking you, who do you think will win the World Cup? Do interact with us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1, and see you on the other side.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
To get the pit as your skiza tune, dial *811 *397 #.
You may be in the pit. You do not see how you could get out. But the good news is that you do not have to get by yourself. The Most High God is about to lift you out. He's about to turn the medical report. He's about to free you. He's about to open new doors, bringing new opportunities, new relationships. The pit is not your destination. Get ready to rise.
To get the pit, dial *811 *397 #. *811 *397 #.
Climate change has become the worst crisis facing humanity yet. More than 1 billion people are facing calamities related to climate change. As world leaders converge in the city of Sharm el-Sheikh during the COP27, the question that is coming across is this: will there be tangible results to deal with global warming?
We want to see implementation, because to say climate change is a distant crisis is to lie. It is actually very much within us. We feel it, we see it.
This week on Inside Government, we are talking to the Principal Secretary in charge of Environment and Forestry, Dr. Chris Kiptor. Watch the conversation right here on KBC Channel 1 with me, O'Brien Kimani.
Kakamega mpo. Stesheni uipendayo Ingo FM inakuletea road show ya mwaka katika kaunti ya Kakamega, Ijumaa tarehe 4 na Jumamosi tarehe 5 Novemba. Tarehe 4 Ijumaa tunazuru Mumias, Matungu, Shianda, Navaholo, Malava, kambi ya Mwanza, Lurambi, na tarehe 5 Jumamosi tukutane pale Kakamega, Hayega, Malinya, Bukura, Huisero, Mulwanda, Sabatia, Ekero na Mumias Town. Kutakuwa na vichekesho na burdan tosha. Pia utakutana na kikosi kizima cha watangazaji na waenzi wa Ingo FM. Usikose.
Radio Ingo, inginingini ya Mwitala. Kakamega na yefu bwana.
Welcome back. You're watching the Lunchtime News. Now, women empowerment is key to the development of the country. Initiatives that empower women at the national and grassroots level continue to be prioritized by both the government and the private sector. through an initiative dubbed Mama ni Mwangaza, big plans to support women groups in Nairobi with expertise to better manage their community projects.
The Mama ni Mwangaza initiative by Big Company is seeking to equip women chamas with information on financial management and reward them with cash prizes to boost their community projects.
We are teaching women. Once we've trained them, we also want them to go into their community. We want them to train their sisters, their friends and their colleagues on the same things that we are teaching them. And the chama that gets the most people that they have trained, they get to win cash prizes.
This year, over 6,000 women from 160 chamas in and around Nairobi will benefit from the initiative, with the project having benefited over 8,000 women last year.
Sisi kama mama tunapenda biashara. Recently uchumi wetu imekuwa chini. Tunaona hiyo pesa itatusaidia. Kwa hakika wamama wengi walikuwa wanalia biashara haifanyi vizuri. So wanahitaji huo msaada wa kupata pesa ya kuongezea biashara yao.
Besides empowering women with better financial skills that is helping them make better financial decisions at the household and community level, the initiative is also enabling them to have access to credit.
Ongezewa hizi pesa tutaweza kuzifanyisha kazi, tutaweza kukopa. Pesa ya kukopa imeongezeka, tukikopa tunarudisha na hiyo interest. That means itafanya chama yetu igrow.
The initiative aims to empower more women in different parts of the country in the coming years. There is no force more powerful than a woman determined to rise. By empowering these women financially, they can be able to generate income and boost their businesses. Reporting for KBC Channel 1, I'm Terry Njenga.
Well, a group of women in Kajiado County is receiving accolades for their efforts in environmental conservation. The women who pulled resources to conserve the Ololua forest in Ngong say they share a common interest, environmental conservation. The 20-member group often meets to take stock of their successes and adopt a common agenda on how to fight climate change, as well as extend a helping hand to locals. They have been regenerating the Ololua forest by planting new seedlings and ensuring no illegal logging takes place in the forests.
To take stock of their successes and adopt a common agenda on how to fight climate change, as well as extend a helping hand to the locals.
Tumekaa kwa hii msitu miaka mingi kuchida 17 hivi.
Kulikuwa kuna kuja wezi walikuwa naiba ng'ambo ile, wanakuja wanachifisha. Kwa sasa tulikuwa tunafieka, tulikuwa tunakuta vitu wameficha kule, wanakulia busi kule, kuna masufuria. Kwa hivyo tukaingia kwa msitu tukafieka.
They have been regenerating the Ololua forest by planting new seedlings and ensuring no illegal logging takes place in the forest. Reporting for KBC, my name is Bill Keegan.
Busia Governor Dr. Paul Otuoma has warned against the theft of medical supplies, instructing administrators and enforcement teams to remain vigilant and report any cases immediately. Otuoma says those who will be found stealing from the public will be dealt with in accordance with the law.
Speaking in Busia after flagging off drugs and other medical supplies to various hospitals across the 7 sub-counties, Governor Paul Otuoma said those charged with the responsibility of safeguarding the supplies must ensure the drugs remain in hospitals and patients get services.
Administrators, you must know your role. Niliwaeleza kazi yenu pia ni kusupervise government functions, and I believe as you are here, hii mambo hii madawa zikikuja kwa sub counties zenyu, tusikuje kusikia ati dawa ilipelekwa hatujui. Any function ya county government, it's your responsibility within your jurisdictions, working of course with other law enforcement agencies, kuhakikisha kwamba wananchi wanapata haki yao.
He further added that law enforcement officers will be on the lookout to ensure correct measures are taken to ensure services are rendered to the public.
KEMSA, which is our main supply, and because of non-payment of our debt, we were suspended. Our account was suspended. So we're not able to get drugs from KEMSA anymore.
Busia Medical Director Dr. Jenrose Ambuchi said the county has not been receiving drugs and medical commodities for some time now, and the arrival of the consignment is a big relief to the health sector.
To security concerns, 2 men have been killed in a night attack by a machete wielding gang in Migori town. A security guard died while the other victim died when receiving treatment at the Migori County Referral Hospital. Residents say they have been left devastated by the recent attack, calling on the government to double down on the gangs.
Mungu, mtoto huyu mdogo ambaye amekuja kusoma neno la Mungu anauawa kanisani. Tumesikia vibaya, serikali yetu tusaidie. Tuko vibaya.
According to Suna West Sub-County Police Commander Elizabeth Okuloba, the two were attacked in Maranatha Faith Assembly's church at around 1 a.m. 3 men armed with pangas attacked security guard and a worker at the church before stealing 6 microphones and an amplifier. Locals living in around Migori town say the gang have been raining terror on them for a while now.
Ninaomba imarisho iwesekane na kuwe na kuimarisha ulinzi wa Migori, maana ni juzi tu hapa juu kwetu kwa hoteli wameua mlinzi, ni juzi tu tena wameiba kwa kanisa lingine wakakata askari, na haijapita miezi hata miwili ama mitatu. Ina maana ya kwamba ni lazima swala hili zote kwa pamoja tuweke bidii ili tuweze kulishinda.
Askari ambaye alikuwa amekuja kutafutia watoto wake wamemchinja kama kuku. Hakika mioyo yetu imeokopa na tuna hofu kabisa na Migori sasa. Tumejaa na uoga kwa sababu ulinzi hauna. Tuko kuanzia saa 7 ya usiku mpaka sasa. Ndio tunapata sasa maaskari wanaingia.
Kile ambacho ninalilia serikali yetu ya kaunti ya Migori ni kwamba ichapo tunafanya security, hatuna guns ambazo tunaweza kujitetea nayo. Wakati wamekushika kama una kinga vizuri sehemu unakaa, unamalizwa hapo na hapo.
About a week ago, a security guard was killed and his eyes gouged out in Ombo area of Migori town, while another is nursing injuries at the Migori County Referral Hospital after he was attacked by the machete-wielding gang.
Wewe unajua mahali mhalifu yuko na wewe hausemi hata kisiri kwa serikali, tafadhali unatuumiza sana. I'm sure somebody has a clue about those who did it. Today it may be those people who were hurt or killed at Maranatha. Tomorrow it will be you and another person will keep quiet. So tafadhali, if you have that information, share it with the law enforcement agency.
The gang is said to be targeting electronic devices and has over the past 3 months broken into homes and businesses, making away with music systems and television sets. Even as Migori Governor Ochilo Ayako called on members of the public to volunteer information to security officers to assist in investigations.
Speaker of Kilifi County Assembly Teddy Mwambire has urged the leaders in the new government to put proper measures to curb the embezzlement of project funds. Mwambire says this is to ensure that the development projects they will initiate will be completed. Speaking while on a tour of Ganze constituency where he served as area member of parliament, Teddy Mwambire revealed that ongoing projects stall due to lack of accountability and affinity for theft of public funds.
Viongozi ambao wanaingia kwa sasa, ningependa kuwashauri kwamba wajaribu kuwa na mipango kabambe ya kuhakikisha kwamba miradi ambao wanaanzisha inakamilika, wawekee fedha za kutosha. Kwa sababu wakati niliingia nilipata kulikuwa na miradi mingi ambayo mingine ilianza mwaka 2004 mpaka mwaka 2017. Yote ilikuwa imekwama katikati, mingine kwa vyanzo, mingine pesa imepotea, ni majina tu. Hata mradi wa shule ya upili ya Dida kuna takriban milioni kama 2 ambazo zilipotea kwa huu mradi, na ilikuwa hajui ilienda wapi. Lakini katika kumbukumbu inaonyesha kwamba kuna hundi ya milioni 2 ambayo ilikuwa imetolewa kuanzisha shule ya upili ya Dida na ikawa haiko. Kwa hivyo hatutaki kuwa na masuala kama hayo. Tunataka tuhakikishe kwamba pesa ambazo zinakuja zinatumika kikamilifu na zinasaidia kukamilisha ama kuanzisha na kukamilisha miradi ya umma. Kwa hivyo nina uhakika kwamba pale ambapo nimeachia kwa mikono safi na nimeacha kwa njia ambayo iko sawa sawa. Sitarajii kwamba baadaye tuje tusikie kwamba kuna miradi mingine imeachiwa katikati au mingine imekuwa hewa, basi itakuwa ni kwa watu wengine. Lakini huu ni wakati pia kwa wakazi wa Ganze waweze kuelekeza mahali popote ambapo pengine kuna pesa ilisemekana imeenda na hakuna mradi ambao uliweza kukamilishwa ama kuanzishwa kama ilivyokuwa inapendekezwa, wajitokeze waseme hapa pesa yake iko wapi.
Baringo County Governor Benjamin Cheboy says his administration plans to make the management of the Baringo Level 5 hospitals independent in a bid to improve staffing and improve healthcare services. Speaking after a consultative meeting with the County Assembly Departmental Committees of Health and Budget to unlock challenges affecting the health sector in the county, Cheboy said bureaucratic red tape has negatively affected services in public hospitals in the country.
To see if we can rationalize our staffing ili tuweze kupata staff wale ambao wako excess in some facilities can be deployed to new facilities which we have built and established and they have not been staffed for a while. To see if we can also see where we can save on resources in some of the facilities so that we can be able to equip and staff the new facilities where possible. To also establish systems of creating independent management of our major hospitals, the level 4 hospitals of Baringo Referral Hospital, Eldamaravin, Mogotio, Chemalingot, Marigat and Kabartonjo, so that these hospitals can be more efficient. We also want to look at ensuring that the laboratories in most of our level 3 hospitals are properly equipped so that it is not necessary for people coming from remote areas or far-flung areas, far areas from the headquarters to come for just a few tests which can be done in the level 3 hospitals. We are also looking at managing the drug distribution system ili madawa yale ambayo tunanunua inaweza kutumika kwa wagonjwa, because sometimes we buy drugs and not all of them end to be used by the patients. They may go elsewhere. We will develop a centralized system of management of the drug distribution system ndio tupunguze madawa yale ambayo yanatupwa kwa sababu of expiry.
You are watching the Lunchtime News. Thank you for staying with us. Time for business news. A group of middle-aged women in Nzaui, Makueni County, has started a project dubbed Jiko Kisasa, an energy-saving Jiko project as a source of livelihood. Our reporter, Frederick Mwoki, paid a visit to the group and compiled the following reports.
Makueni County is among ASAL regions which has hardly been hit by the adverse effects of drought, with the area yet to receive sufficient rain in the last 4 seasons, with thousands of area residents in dire need of food and water. A group of women have found a means of survival, making and selling energy-saving jikos. The project started in 2009.
Nimechangia kwa hii majiko. Sasa naweza kuamka asubuhi niwe sina 5 cent na niko na watoto wako shule. Sasa nikifika huko soko nasikia napigiwa simu. Nauliza mama Masi uko wapi? Nasema niko hapa. Nakuja mtu ananiambia nataka majiko mangapi? 2. Sasa inamuuzia pesa naweka tu.
Inawe tulikuja tu tukajua kuna hao watu wanatengeneza jiko kisasa. Na nikaenda hapo pamoja na the other administration, tukaenda kwa lobby. Tukawa wakakuja hapa. Wakapima hii mchanga kwanza. Wakasema hii mchanga ni mzuri sana. Kwa hiyo project. Then from there Through the ministry, pia they linked with the GIZ, Germany-based organization, and ndio wanasupport hii mradi through marketing, financial, training, and whatever.
Germany-based organization GIZ offered the group training in a move that was geared towards alleviating poverty and unemployment, as well as environmental conservation. So how then does this group turn this soil into beautiful handmade jikos? The process begins with mixing of fine clay with moderate water until a smooth texture is felt. Then it is transferred to a reshaping machine before being left to dry after 2 days. Thereafter, it is heated until it turns red in color. The group has capacity to make 60 such jikos on a daily basis.
Endelea mzuri. Na tumeona faida ya hii majiko. Mbele tulikuwa naona sio kitu. Lakini saa hii tunajifunia. Hata tunaringa na hii kazi yetu ya mikono yetu. Juu hakuna mahali unaenda unatumia ni kuni tu.
The group believes this energy-saving jiko is part of their contribution in fighting global warming. They say these jikos use less firewood, are highly efficient, and help households save.
This is one of the ambitious projects that was started in 2009 with an aim of alleviating poverty within this region, bearing in mind it's one of the ASAL regions within the country.
Frederick Moki for Lunchtime News.
Well done, Moki. In other news, groundnut farmers are being challenged to increase the acreage under the food crop to meet demand from processors. European Union-funded Market Access Upgrade Program project coordinator Maina Karweru says most processors have been forced to source groundnuts from neighboring countries but are keen on contract farming to commercialize groundnut farming.
Groundnut farmers in Busia and Siaya counties have been linked with a nut processor as EU-funded Market Access Upgrade Program steps up efforts to commercialize groundnut farming in Kenya.
So once they are able to have a market and a consistent market, and our aim is that the farmers and the buyer will be able to do a contract so that the farmers have certainty in terms of what they need to produce, in terms of prices, in terms of payments, and that will automatically increase the level of production.
The farm has a demand of 200,000 metric tons of groundnuts annually, but only gets half of the supply locally.
We want to assure them that we are going to provide a contract that will ensure them the minimum price that we can offer to them and also the maximum price that we can also offer to them so that they can abide to the contract to avoid side selling that we have experienced with so many farmers.
To increase acreage under groundnuts and commercialize the crop, the Market Access Upgrade Program has committed to provide high-yielding, certified groundnut seeds to farmers.
We also worked together with Carlo and ICRISAT and Egerton University on seed production. That has been the major challenge in groundnut because there is no certified seed on the shelves in agrovets.
Farmers will also be linked to buyers in a bid to eliminate middlemen who fleece farmers.
Ina imani ya kwamba hiyo contract kwa sababu sasa tuko sure baada ya kuharvest tuna soko na tutakuwa na pesa.
Kukiwa na soko, wakulima wako kwa sababu njugu ni chakula bora kwa afya.
He is challenging farmers to follow the laid-down practices, especially during harvesting, to reduce cases of aflatoxin contamination and post-harvest losses.
We have already trained those farmers on global gap standards. So the company is happy that it's finding a group that is already trained, aware of the requirements in terms of food safety, quality and compliance to the environment.
Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
The government is pursuing a strong working relationship with the United States with a keen interest in advancing the African continental trade integration. Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria says the government is committed to the strategic trade and investment partnership forged in July this year with the U.S. Here now are the details of this and other stories in our corporate briefs.
3 months ago, Kenya forged a new trade agreement with the United States after the free trade agreement signed with the Trump administration was scraped off following Biden's ascent to power. Kenya has been eyeing a finalization of the strategic trade and investment partnership that focused on 10 essential areas of trade collaboration, including a focus on agriculture, the digital economy, transparency and good regulatory practices, micro, small and medium-sized enterprise support, and workers' rights and protections. Trade CS Moses Kuria says a one-on-one meeting with U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai has been set during the United States Africa Leaders Summit in December this year. Meanwhile, insurance brokers have highlighted the need to offer solutions that are relevant and tailored for the Kenyan market as a long-term growth strategy. Minet Group Managing Director Sami Mudhui says Kenyans are in the market for firms that are offering various risk advisory packages which are locally relevant yet globally competitive. He says insurance seekers want personalized services that allow them to quantify and manage their risk exposure and meet the future in more predictable ways.
Now we are in a new strategic cycle. We have seen exceptional growth of the company, and that means clients, means revenue.
Finally, Gertrude Hospital has rolled out pediatric outpatient access clinics meant for children in low and middle income communities throughout the country. The hospital says the 2 pilot clinics will be within the Nairobi metropolitan area and are opening in the next 3 months. The hospital has also partnered with the National Health Insurance Fund to offer subsidized weekly heart surgeries for low income families.
So these will be pediatric clinics, but for children who don't have medical insurance, for children whose parents may not even be employed, and so we are targeting the lower middle class population.
I see a committed team, committed to better the quality of care of children in Kenya, committed to expand access to care, the expansion of clinics up to neighborhood level to make them easily accessible, and of course improving the quality of care.
Hibak Said for Lunch.
Twitter intends to lay off about 3,700 of its global workforce in a move to make the social media platform more profitable. The firm's offices will be temporarily closed and badge access will be suspended to help ensure the safety of each employee as well as Twitter systems and customer data. Here now are the details of this and other stories making headlines across the globe.
Twitter says it will inform its staff on Friday about whether they will be laid off following the firm's takeover by Elon Musk. The social media companies say the cuts are an effort to place Twitter on a healthy path. While recognizing that the move will have an impact on a number of individuals who have made valuable contributions to Twitter, Musk defended the action, terming it as unfortunate but necessary to ensure company's success moving forward. Twitter has not made a profit in several years, and its numbers of users have remained fairly static at about 300 million a month. Elsewhere, the Bank of England has warned the UK is facing its longest recession in 33 years. Food and energy prices have jumped, leaving many households facing hardships and the economy dragging. While it will not be the UK's deepest downturn, it will be the longest since records began in the 1920s. The unemployment rate is currently at its lowest for 50 years, but it is expected to rise to nearly 6.5%. The bank lifted interest rates to 3% from 2.25%, the biggest jump since 1989. By raising rates, the bank is trying to bring down soaring prices as the cost of living rises at its fastest rate in 40 years. Finally, India has been ranked as one of the nations with the cheapest manufacturing costs. The report evaluates 85 countries across 73 attributes. Under the Open for Business subcategory, India has scored 100% when it comes to cheap manufacturing costs, but in favorable tax environment, it however scored lowly in the corruption and transparent government policies categories. The government of India has taken steps such as rolling out production-linked incentive schemes and reducing compliance burden with a view to make India a global manufacturing hub.
Kilifi County government has announced plans to ban exportation of baobab trees to foreign countries, saying the new trend is reversing gains made in protecting the environment. According to Kilifi County CEC Water and Environment Docket, Omar Said said buyers are targeting only mature trees which take long to grow and produce fruits.
Reports in Kilifi County indicate a rising trend of unscrupulous individuals exporting mature baobab trees, which are sold for between 100,000 shillings to 300,000 shillings. Kilifi County CC in charge of water and environment, Omar Said, warns of an impending scenario where the coast region risks losing all baobab trees if no action is taken.
With that action of exporting those baobab, it means that we don't need those baobab, of which they're very, very important commodity, especially to the people or locals here. It's a source of income, it's a business activity or idea, so there is no need of exporting this baobab, but what we should do is ensuring that we plant more.
Abbas Mohammed, the chairman of Baobab Community Development Initiative in Malindi, says baobab trees have medicinal value and help treat ailments such as diabetes and high blood pressure.
Mibuyu ni miti ambayo ina faida nyingi sana katika jamii yetu. Ukizingatia hivi sasa imekuja kugundulika kwamba mabuyu yamekuwa ni dawa kubwa sana katika mwili wa mwanadamu. Ni dawa za sukari, ni dawa za pressure, ni dawa za magonjwa tofauti wataalamu wameweza kubainisha hayo. That's why ni muhimu sisi kulinda mibuyu yetu, ni muhimu sisi kulinda miti yetu, na ni mojawapo katika hili tunalifanya la kulinda mazingira ni kulinda miti yetu.
The baobab tree is a succulent and absorbs water during the rainy season. This water is then stored in its vast trunk that enables it to produce a nutrient-dense fruit in the dry season.
A section of residents in Isiolo County has lauded President William Ruto appointment of Dr. Ahmed Liban as Principal Secretary in the State Department of Petroleum, making him the first ever person from Isiolo County to be appointed to the PS position. Addressing journalists in Isiolo town, the residents, comprising of elders from the Borana, Somali and Gabra communities, religious leaders and professionals, said President William Ruto had finally remembered one of them for a state appointment.
Vile ameweza kukumbuka sisi ambaye kwa kutaja mmoja wetu kama Principal Secretary. Sasa Mohamed Liban, kijana mzuri ambaye sisi tulikuwa tunaangalia, na kwa wale wote walikuwa wakitafuta hiyo kiti, tulikuwa tumeomba ya kuwa hiyo kiti iende, hiyo nafasi iende kwa Mohamed Liban, na imeenda. Umesikia, hata Mungu amesikia maombi yetu. Pia wewe Mungu amekueleza kwa njia yake, maombi yetu imefika paka kwako.
Na tumeshukuru His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Rais wetu Honorable William Samoei Ruto, ya kwamba hajatusahau na ametukumbuka, na sisi tunarudisha leo shukrani.
Kupata nafasi kama hii ni ngumu sana. Rais wa Kenya ni rais ya watu wote wa Kenya. Kupatia mtu na nafasi ni chache. Kupatia watu nafasi kama hii ni recognition kubwa, na sisi tunashukuru yeye kurecognize sisi, kutupatia hiyo nafasi.
Katika docket ya kitaifa najua kuna kazi mingi imebaki. Isiolo tuko na wasomi kama Wakenya wale wengine. Nina hakika kuna jambo ambaye halijawahi fanyika Kenya tangu Isiolo tangu Kenya ilipata uhuru. Mheshimiwa Rais, kuna watu wanaitwa mabalozi ambaye katika kila kaunti ya taifa la Kenya nafikiri hawajawahi kosa kuonja hiyo matunda ya ubalozi. Isiolo haijawahi kuonja tangu Kenya ilipata uhuru. Mheshimiwa Rais, nikirudisha shukurani, kuna prastato ambaye bado haujawateua. Mheshimiwa Rais, nikiongezea naomba hata hiyo utukumbuke.
To tourism matters, bird watching, hiking, game drives and picnics are things to do at the Lake Nakuru National Park. The sunset view at the lake with migratory bird species at the backdrop displays perfect setting for sundowner and game. This week on Magical Sense, I take you to the county of Nakuru. Surrounded by woody and bushy grasslands on the floor of the Rift Valley lies the beautiful Lake Nakuru National Park. This is not my first time to travel to this lake, and there are reasons that always push me to revisit my stay at this location. Each time my team and I do a game drive, the experience is different from the last time. The sunset with bird life at the backdrop brings out a magical setup for a visitor. Gazetted in 1982 as a national park, Lake Nakuru measures 188 square kilometers and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with at least 400 migratory bird species, including the flamingos. The lake is adorned by beautiful scenery surrounded by the Rift Valley escarpments. The landscape at this park also consists of steep rocky escarpments, forests and hills, which act as viewpoints for interested tourists. And this is just a bit of what a whole experience to Lake Nakuru National Park would be. The festive season is here, a reason for you to plan early enough. You can put up art facilities away from the lake for an experience of a kind.
It's just the breeze. You look outside, you see trees. You look outside, you see beautiful homes, just away from town. And you see everybody is trying to run away from the noise in the town. It is good for holiday, especially staycations. You want to get away from town. And some people also there's a lot of family around here, so most people are also coming to visit their family. So it's near a home, but you still want to feel like you're in a hotel. So you go visit family during the day, at night you come and rest in a good bed.
Irene Muchuma Udim, Magical Sense in the county of Nakuru. Welcome. Let's get to the fields. Bayern Munich defender Alphonso Davies, who was raised in a refugee camp in Ghana, beats all odds to lead Canada in the global limelight in Germany. RB Leipzig striker Timo Werner is out of Qatar 2022 World Cup after suffering an ankle injury. The World Cup finals will be exclusively televised live on KBC Channel 1 and affiliate radio stations beginning on the 20th of November through to the 18th of December 2022. World Cup Eco KBC.
Rodriguez back to Davis. Godoy, Martinez.
Bayern Munich left back Alphonso Davies would lead Canada to the first World Cup appearance since 1986. The 22-year-old was raised in a Ghana refugee camp and will be hoping to lead his team to glory in this year's World Cup finals in Qatar. Elsewhere, Germany national soccer team will be without their star striker Timo Werner in Qatar after he suffered an injury against Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League on Wednesday. The 26-year-old has scored 24 goals in 55 appearances for Germany. In Spain, Barcelona midfielder Pedro González Lopez, simply known as Pedri, is ready to lead a young Spain side in Qatar. The 19-year-old was a key part in Spain's run to the semi-finals of the European Champions last year and won both the 2021 Golden Ball and Copa Trophy, awarded to the best player under the age of 21.
The winner is Pedri.
All right, we've come to the end of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. I'm going through some of your comments after the digital team said that asked you which team will win the World Cup trophy. So many guesses. There's also saying, Calvin Langata saying Neymar will take it. And also, Brian Mukisa, you're saying Neymar will take it. Njonjo wa Mwiruri saying Senegal will take it. May the best team win. KBC Channel 1 will be bringing you the matches live from Qatar. Indeed, you should keep it KBC Channel 1. Thank you for your company. For more details, we'll just add news and many more. Do log on to www.kbc.co.ke. My name is Irene Muchuma on Sign Language Interpretation. We have Byron Abuli on behalf of the entire team behind this broadcast. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Enye. Karibu.